Up next on End of the Day Beer Review, we're going to be looking at Sand City's Southdown Breakfast Stout. This comes in at 7.5% ABV. Check it out. Hi everybody, it's Rich and welcome to End of the Day Beer Review. And today we're going to be looking at Sand City Brewing Company's Southdown Breakfast Stout. Now, Sand City Brewing Company is in Northport, New York, which is right on Long Island. Basically within an hour or so of my house. And I was there yesterday and I had a little time, so I ran in and I picked up what looked interesting. They had two stouts. They had this one, which is their breakfast stout, and they had another imperial stout, which I'm going to review a little later on. But this one is their breakfast stout, and it is a 1 pint can coming in at 7.5% ABV, and it is brewed and canned in Northport, New York. So this is as local as you can get, and I got it yesterday. I brought it home in the cooler. It stayed cool, cold the whole time. So it should be as fresh as you can possibly get. Let's crack this open. Now, there's no tasting, hints on the can, except for one thing, and I do like their sort of subdued can art. I'm not sure if it's going to come out on the camera or not, but it does look like there are some coffee beans on here. And if you get a chance, Sand City Brewing is in this cute little town on Long Island called Northport. You can walk down by the water. You can walk up into Sand City. You can get your beer, sit down, relax. Very nice place. And they've put out some really interesting beers over the last year or so. Actually, year or so. I guess the channel is more than a year old, so like year and a half since I've been running the channel. So let's crack this one open. Let's see what we get. Now, not getting an aroma directly out of the can, so let me put my glasses aside, do the pour. And this is pouring very dark, which is a good sign for me. I like my beer to be, something that you can't really see through. The head is sort of like a very light brown, almost khaki colored head. And I'm gonna stop pouring there. A little lacing, no real legs that I can see. But I am getting some aromas here, but let me put my nose in the glass and see what we got. I'm getting two things. I'm getting coffee, and I am getting sort of that stout roastiness. In fact, it almost smells sort of like, I don't want to say it's quite, smells like a coffee stout, but it's pretty darn close. Yeah, I would almost chalk this up to being, a coffee stout. So let's see what it tastes like. So there's a good bitterness on the back of the tongue, which I do enjoy. The dominant flavor here is that sort of roasted coffee flavor that you get from a breakfast stout. There's no real sweetness to speak of. There's a good amount of carbonation here, more so than I expected. In fact, it's actually fizzing in the glass, sort of like a glass of Coke. So that's surprising. But what's nice is you're getting that roastiness on the tongue when you take your first sip, but then as it goes down and sort of it goes through the sinus cavities, you wind up getting that sort of coffee flavor. Now, it is 7.5% ABV, which is a little high, but I have to tell you the truth, you do not feel it. This is smooth as you can be. Like it's great when it comes to that. Yeah, this is very nice. Again, sort of that good roastiness. It's not overly bitter. It's sort of like a light brewed coffee that seems to have been added to this. So it's not like that dark roast, which is what I normally go for. This is like a lighter roasted stout, lighter roasted coffee that's sort of complementing that stout flavor that's there. So the dominant flavor here is roastiness, without the bitterness that you sort of associate with that darker coffee flavor. This is very, very nice. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. I try not to do that on camera. In fact, I might take that out. But to go back to this is a beautiful stout, very smooth, a good mouthfeel. It sort of coats the mouth nicely. It gives you that roastiness on the front of the tongue without the bitterness that I normally associate with stouts. And there is just a hint of a coffee aftertaste, which I really like a lot. But sort of that light roasted coffee, almost like a blonde, if you will. This is very nice. This is very nice. This is a very easy drinking stout. I could see really pairing this up with a steak or something like that. And clearly at 7.5, we're starting to dabble into the heavier alcohol content. But, you know, that's sort of the problem with this, is I could see somebody drinking 2 or 3 of these with a meal and getting hit pretty hard. So it's one of those stouts that I think would sneak up on you if you weren't careful. This is a very nice beer. You know, Sand City consistently puts out very, very accessible stouts. And what I mean by that is you could give this to somebody who's not normally a stout drinker, and I think they would find it reasonably enjoyable. I'm starting now to get the burn in the stomach on like the 3rd or 4th sip that I'm having from this. But this is a very, very nice stout. Again, I'm getting a little bit of that coffee, and I sort of like it because sometimes the coffee flavor can overwhelm the roastiness of the stout, and that's not happening here. You're getting all of it, and it's sort of put together in this really enjoyable sort of like medley of flavor. So you can distinguish, or at least I can distinguish, the flavor of the stout. I can distinguish the flavor of the coffee, and like I said, I think it's a light roast coffee because what this stout lacks is that bitterness that I normally associate with a coffee stout or a darker stout. And I have to say, it's really, really an enjoyable and accessible stout. It's something that you could give to somebody who is more of, let's say, an IPA drinker or an ale drinker. And you know what? I think they would find it as enjoyable as any other beer they had. So I think that Sand City did a nice job with this stout. And again, this is Southdown Breakfast Stout. And this is by Sand City Brewing Company in Northport, New York. If you see it by you, I definitely recommend picking it up. And like I said, it's one of those stouts that's, I think it's very, very drinkable, very easy on the palate. If you like a light roast coffee, I think it's there for you. I'm not getting any of that overt bitterness. This is a nice, accessible beer that I think could be enjoyed by anybody. It's definitely one that I might have to go and pick up another 4-pack. Now, I think I spent about $17 for 4, and I think, and normally I don't bring up the prices, mostly because I just forget how much I spent on the beer. I think this is a really solid offering by Sand City. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this one, and I will see you guys next time. If you enjoyed the review, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If there's something else you've had from Sand City, or some other coffee stout or breakfast stout that you think I should try on the channel, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you next time. Cheers.